We're going to conclude the meeting. We're going to start with Mr. Barrett for 5. Go ahead, sir.
So I'd like to refer to an ABC News article dated October 18, 2023. It says, U.S. says initial independent review shows no evidence of bomb strike on Gaza hospital. I want to read the first paragraph of this article. A day after the Hamas-led Gaza Health Ministry claimed Israel had attacked the Al-Ali Arab Hospital in Gaza City, saying some 500 Palestinians had been killed, Israeli and U.S. officials, explosive experts, and President Joe Biden said Wednesday, and available evidence shows the destruction was caused instead by a failed Palestinian terrorist rocket launch. I'm going to end the quote from that story there, but I would then like to refer to a tweet from 10/7/2023, and it's by Canada's Foreign Affairs Minister, posted on X, and it says, quote, bombing a hospital is an unthinkable act, and there's no doubt that doing so is absolutely illegal. Now, that was viewed 2.7 million times, and I want to draw to your attention the context that existed at the time, and that goes back to this ABC article's opening graph that talks about that initial claim. And that initial claim was that Israel had perpetrated an attack on a civilian site, killing 500 civilians, innocents, in that war. And that was reported by mainstream news outlets across the West, including here in Canada. And many, if not all, issued some form of correction. But the tweet that I read to you from Canada's foreign minister, I just read that and wrote it down in the last 5 minutes. So that tweet is still up, viewed 2.7 million times. How harmful is this? It's frankly, it's recklessness from a government-verified account. Now, on the platform X, there's different types of verifications, and one of them is from a government official or an elected official. This has the gray check mark. Talk about the disruption that foreign or hostile state actors they seek to create. And it's not necessarily to favor one political ideology or another. And I think, Professor Bradshaw, you talked about during a very contentious time in 2020 in the U.S., BLM riots, and the same hostile states were sponsoring or fomenting both supporters of BLM, but also supporters of Blue Lives Matter. So trying to create discord between two groups in a very tense situation, a tense time. So this example here, do you believe that this type of failure to act after a hot take, which can happen on social media, do you believe that it enables hostile foreign states to create the kind of division that frankly we've seen in Canada in the face of this ongoing war in the Middle East? I'll start with you, Professor Bradshaw.
Yeah, so I don't remember the fact check story or anything like that. So I'm going to focus my response mainly on the role that I think influencers can play in the dissemination of mis and disinformation when we're looking at things like COVID misinformation, for example. It's really a small number of people who tend to generate the most engagement around like the conspiracy theories, and thinking about the role of people who have large audiences on social media. There's almost a greater incentive or a greater reason to, with great power comes great responsibility, kind of take more steps to ensure that fair and accurate and good information is going out to audiences. But platforms in particular have not traditionally taken that path. There have been a lot of, whistleblower documents that have shown specific kind of whitelists of accounts from people who are influencers who have large followings and can kind of get past a lot of the moderation systems because it generates engagement. And so for me, I think the problem is really there. And we should not be so worried about a Russian Twitter account that's not generating as much engagement and not reaching like mainstream public attention. But we should also be thinking more broadly about the role of influencers. And I also think that's why we see a lot of Russian information operations pivoting to hiring and co-opting local voices and people who already have audiences. If we're thinking about policy responses too, like generating that kind of trust and building a culture for influencers to do some defending of democracy could be a potential like positive route. But you also don't want to be paying them and do that kind of stuff. But you know what I mean.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Sorry, Mr. Bardisi, we didn't have time to go to you. Mr. Housefather, you have 5 minutes on this round.